What's up, everybody? Welcome to Funeral Nation episode 152. I'm Ryan Thogmartin. That is Jeff, the funeral commander Harbison. And Jeff, we got a great episode today that's hits you in the core.
It does. I had the opportunity to visit Jim Rudolph of Veterans Funeral Care down in Florida recently. So not only are we going to share some of the photos from his museum, but he's going to share with us what he does for our veterans in the U.S. in funeral care.
It's pretty special.
But the only way this will happen is that we've got gasoline for the effing engine. And what is that, Ryan?
That is C&J Financial, our title sponsor. Jamie and his crew, big supporters of the show, and are crushing in their own regard. And they make this possible. So let's roll that promo.
What payment method do you prefer families use for your goods and services? Most funeral homes and cemeteries prefer cash check or credit card over life insurance as the preferred method of payment. However, families who use life insurance are able to purchase the funeral service of their choice and spend 31% more on your goods and services. By encouraging more families to pay with insurance, you can create a better experience for the family and become more profitable without increasing your call volume. The reason most firms prefer cash check or credit card over life insurance is that insurance companies are a hassle to deal with, and payment can often take weeks or months to receive. With C&J Financial, you can receive funding within 24 hours of verification of benefit, thereby eliminating the hassle, headache, and cash flow delay in processing insurance death claims. Let us show you why hundreds of funeral homes all across America choose C&J for their assignment funding needs, and why many associations, accounting firms, and industry leaders recommend C&J to their clients and members.
You know, it's interesting. Speaking of C&J, we're going to have Rob Bryce with you and I together next
That's
week
right.
down in Wilmington for the roundtable.
Yeah, pretty excited. You know, last year we got to kind of document the roundtable on Funeral Nation, and it's become a fabric of, our yearly travel plans where we're getting together with, I believe, about 25 other vendors and personalities in the space to really spend 2.5, 3 days talking about important issues that are affecting not only us as vendors, but funeral homes, the consumer, and the profession in general, and how can we play a part instrumentally together to help push the profession forward, which is good for everybody.
Right. In fact, it's interesting. One of the things and topics we'll be discussing is the number one problem in the funeral business. It's not cremation.
That's right.
It's personnel and the lack of personnel. I believe we've got the president of the Cincinnati Mortuary College is going to be a speaker. And as suppliers and vendors, we're going to discuss and collaborate how we can work with our professionals to better the future, because frankly, there's more people going out than coming in, and that's going to be our biggest pinch. But before we get going on to our interview, my phone didn't ring, but I hear it in my head because it happens all the time. Let's get a little promotion from Mr. Welton Ong of Ring Ring Marketing.
We're Ring Ring Marketing. We help funeral homes generate at least 10 more at-need calls per month. Our techniques help you dominate local search rankings and become the top choice for services in your area. We also proudly offer a 100% money-back guarantee. For a free copy of our book, visit www.funeralhomeprofits.com.
All right, Ryan, I'm excited. As I shared at the top of the show, I had the honor to visit Jim Rudolph at Veterans Funeral Care down in Florida. And so let's go ahead and roll that interview. We are so excited today to have our guest, Jim Rudolph of Veterans Funeral Care. Jim, welcome to the effing show.
Good morning. Happy Friday, everybody.
Yes, it is. You know, Jim, I had the pleasure, opportunity, and honor to spend some time with you a few weeks ago there at your location. And I have to tell you, as a veteran, as an American, I was just overwhelmed at the operation and what you do there. So if you'll take a few minutes just to share with us about Veterans Funeral Care, and we'll just continue our conversation on it.
I'm really proud of it. It's as you know, I was raised in an Army house. My dad's buried at Florida National Cemetery. So I was raised in a home where, when we were teenagers, my brother and I were where it was expected that we knew the difference between a staff sergeant and a first sergeant. And everything, in our house was red, white, and blue. It was military, and it was scary, for some people. But no, sir, no, sir. So veterans funeral care, I'm a tribal marketer. There's niche marketing. We're going after cremation, but tribal marketing is speaking to your group. You might be Orthodox. I have an Orthodox funeral home in our group in Chicago. You might be Catholic. You might wait on Catholic. So obviously we've made an issue of being veteran. And the real brilliance of this is really that all of the people that work here, they're either retired military or the spouse of a veteran or the kid of a veteran, as I am. My dad was Army. I was not. So we're proud of it. It's I have a federal trademark on it. It's the first in America that decided to make an issue of being a veteran or being a family member of a veteran is worthy of going to a funeral home that was built especially for you. We were really thrilled to have you, as an Army captain in our house and see our museum and experience life at Veterans Funeral Care.
That's
We've got some pictures that we'll post along with this video. Brian, go ahead.
Well, Jim, I wanted to ask, do you have a network of funeral homes that are now offering the same services and packages that you've created?
Yes. We have, it moves around, but there's 100 plus funeral homes across the country. I think it's 34, 35 states that are like-minded people. Ryan, I get two kinds of phone calls from funeral directors. Number one will be a funeral director that says, I've heard a lot of stuff about you guys. How much does this cost and how much money can I make on it? That's not really the right way to reach me as an Army son. But the guy that walks in like Jeff did, and their eyes get big, and they wonder, did I just walk into a funeral home or did I walk into, a museum for veterans? When a funeral director calls up and says, my dad was at Guadalcanal, he was in the Navy, he was a Navy corpsman and decorated. I love what you guys are doing. How can we help? That's the way to reach me, because ultimately, if they're going to be successful in our network, it's going to be because their hearts are in the veteran world already.
That's true. And, it's interesting being part of the greatest fraternity on earth for those who would give your life for someone else. This particular, you talk about tribal marketing, but this particular niche is one we least pay attention to, I believe, but the greatest opportunity because of the loyalty factor.
It's amazing that you say that, because I meet so many funeral directors at a convention, or they'll call and they'll say, we put a flagpole up. Honestly, we put a flagpole up. We ran some marketing pointed towards it, or we did some direct mail, for pre-need for veterans, and we didn't get very much for our money. And I just smile, because that's not enough. If you're just putting a flag up and you think that somebody's going to drive from 50 to 100 miles away, because we have that happen to us all the time, because they're, the old veteran said, I want to go to that veteran's funeral home. It happens for our funeral homes all across the country. They text me or call me and say, I cannot believe that we got a family they drove by 11 funeral homes to get here, and they told us, the reason why is, the presentation you made at the American Legion post and delivered a bench saying, thanks for what you did for our country. So, yeah, we want to take them to a deeper level.
I think that's fantastic. Jim, on my visit, obviously your museum and what you have there, I have goosebumps right now, because I walked in and it was, in some respects, to me, a little overwhelming from an emotional standpoint, seeing what you've done there. You have two people there that you came in contact with. One was in the Navy and one was in the Marine Corps. And one of my favorite gunny sergeants, one of the most famous of all time. Just quickly share with us how you served his family.
It was quite a shock that one day in Clearwater, Florida, as you know, we're in the Tampa Bay area, central coastal Florida, and I get a telephone call, and it's the 12th Sergeant Major of the Marine Corps, and he says, you're about to get a phone call from the family of Gunny Arlie Ermey, and they are upset because he died yesterday. It has not been announced yet, but they've called 5 or 6 funeral homes in Los Angeles because, as you know, Gunny Ermey died at UCLA Med Center in Santa Monica. So sure enough, 10, 15 minutes later, I get a telephone call, and it's the agent actually for Gunny Ermey, and he told me, he said, I'm concerned because nobody seems to know how to get this man to Arlington. So of course, talk to him about what the requirements for Arlington are, how we could do Gunny Ermey was a Christian. He had a church membership, married 40 years, and we talked about having a church funeral there in Palmdale, which is where he lived, and then getting him sent to Arlington. And the guy said, you are the only person who has not told me, well, let me take your name and number and I'll get information about Arlington and we'll call you back. And I said, well, thank you very much, but it's what we do every day here. So of course, this is our specialty. So at the end of the day, he said, well, now you're in Tampa, we're in Los Angeles. And I said, yeah, it's going to cost you a couple plane tickets and a couple of hotel rooms, but it'll be an honor for us to come out and do Gunny Ermey's funeral. So we have a funeral home in Los Angeles that's in our network, and we did it, through their funeral home using their license, and it was an incredible honor.
And you also have a uniform there that's really special.
You have a good memory. My wife and I, we love Colorado, and we try to go to Colorado at the end of the summer, trying to escape the humidity here. And when the book Lone Survivor was written, before there was a Lone Survivor movie, me, my friends, everybody in the military world fell in love with Navy SEAL Marcus Luttrell because of writing that book, 4 SEALs on 140 Taliban. Well, the first SEAL that died in that fight was Navy SEAL Danny Deep. And he's buried at the National Cemetery in Denver, and my wife and I, at the beginning of our vacation that year, we went to the National Cemetery and just put roses on his grave, and we accidentally met his mother.
Wow.
That ended up, we went to dinner. Oh, it was surreal. And she invited Kim and I back to their home for coffee and a piece of pie, and we didn't leave until about 1 in the morning, but they didn't have a foundation. They didn't have a website. And the Baptist in me, as they are, my wife said, what do you think? And I said, well, I think we're supposed to help them build a website and get their foundation going. So I think the Navy SEAL, DannyDeets.com, the foundation, I think we've collected our group. This is the Veterans Funeral Care group. It's around 40,000, a little more than maybe 40,000
wow.
that goes to his scholarship funds. And one of the things I love about Ryan is that Ryan was the first executive in funeral service, that was pushing social media. And it was actually we had actually made a post on social media that went viral with our friends and my friends like yours, highly military. And our Facebook post actually got shared into Danny Dietz's mom's news feed.
Wow.
And then she drilled backwards, and that's how she found us. The most surreal, hey, I'm 60 years old. So, supposed to, Ryan's out there trying to help the 40-year-olds, get on board with social media. Hey, people, listen to Ryan and do what he tells you to do.
Thank you.
Good work.
Thank you. Well, Jim, it's
the uniform. So we have the real uniform of Navy SEAL Danny Dietz, as you know, under glass in our museum.
That's
right.
Cool.
We have a picture that we'll share with everyone. Jim, it's been a pleasure having you here. Would you share with us the best way for a funeral home to contact you and become part of your organization?
You bet. They can call us at 727-524-9202, or really highly recommend them going to Facebook. Look at the Veterans Funeral Care Facebook page and drill down and look at the programs, and call me up and say, hey, how can we help? Don't call up and say, how much money am I going to make doing this? I'm going to tell you that, and if you do what we teach you to do, because this is all training, then we would love to have you as part of our network, and And I enjoy a great deal seeing this monetized, help good funeral homes, because, you know, this can mean anything from 25 to 150 deaths a year. At-need calls to your firm. Lord knows what it means for you.
Well, Jim, we're grateful that you came on as a veteran. Thank you for what you do.
Yes,
I'll give
thank
you
you.
the salute from the old captain here. And whatever we can do here at Funeral Nation, please let us know to support your efforts, because it's an effort for our country.
We really enjoyed giving you the tour, having you walk in unexpected. Appreciate what you guys are doing, Ryan. I'm really thrilled with. I do like to stalk what you guys are doing, and
Thank you.
You're teaching the new way, and I hope that your viewership and your listeners are paying attention, because the world's changing, funeral service is changing, and what you guys are doing it's cutting edge.
Thank you, Jim.
All right. Well, thank you. I hope you have a great weekend, and I'm sure our paths will cross again soon.
You guys too. Enjoy that Phoenix heat. I wish that's my favorite city in America. That's a long story.
You know, interesting. Next week we'll be together in Wilmington, North Carolina. So just look for some sort of hurricane warning, I'm sure.
Roger that.
Take care.
Thanks, guys. Have a good day.
You too.
Wow, what a great thing that Jim and their network are doing to serve and honor our veterans that we owe respect to, for sure. And they absolutely deserve a touching, loving funeral and to be handled with care. So shout out to Jim. Jeff, thanks for making the trip down there and getting the pictures and bringing Jim on the show today.
Yeah, thank you. You know, it was funny during the interview and today, I've noticed that you're sporting a private pile hairdo.
Yeah. So I went all out. I have the army green jacket here, and I'm also supporting Biggie Smalls, the King of New York. So, what are you gonna do?
I'd love to see you bebopping over there to Paris Island with that outfit on. Tell them what's going on today.
I think that'd be a good idea.
I agree with you. So we got something that's going. What's cracking?
Cracking.
Right, folks. That's it. You talking about tentacles and reaching far down the industry to run the business. Our friends at Kraken have it going on.
Technology is a powerful tool, except when it's not. Choosing the wrong type of technology will frustrate your team, waste your time, and increase your costs. Many funeral homes today still labor under the requirement of having to enter the same piece of information multiple times for the same family. This increases their work, their errors, and their cost. Kraken users can enter a loved one's information one time, and it will populate across the entire system. The whiteboard, the case file, the contract, the financials, family authorizations, government forms, the obit, stationery providers, answering services, calendars, and any other person, place, or vendor that needs access to this information. One and done. Good tools should make your work easier, not harder. What tools are you using? Tips like these can free up your time so you can spend more time with your families. Learn more about Kraken at kraken.net.
Let's get cracking.
Awesome, Jeff. So that wraps up 152. So next week, we're probably going to be going live, and then we'll have a montage of everything that happened that week. We're taking a video crew down with us to capture what's going on at the round table, because I think it's something you and I are passionate about, and there are other vendors, as well as Live Oak Bank, who puts this on, that are passionate about just continuing to push the profession forward and making sure that the funeral directors that are coming into the profession are well equipped to be able to handle the changing consumer. And that's really what this is all about, spending some time together. And it's a different kind of study group of sorts. So everybody coming together for some good.
That's it. Well, safe travels. I look forward to seeing you down on the coast. And Josh, is he coming with you?
Yes, Mr. Tiso is coming.
Yeah, love me some Josh. Anyway, from Funeral Nation, everybody, again, please support our veterans. Veterans Funeral Care is the way to do it. And we look forward to seeing you next week.
All right. Until next time, have a great effing week.
Out here.